Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're taking a much more somber tone than usual. We're looking at the heartbreaking facts surrounding the sudden, tragic passing of 18-year-old actress Kaylee Hottle. We're going to walk through the details of exactly what happened, but more importantly, we're going to celebrate the absolutely incredible legacy she leaves behind at such a remarkably young age. So let's get into it.
Okay, let's dive right into this. The loss of Kaylee is just being felt so profoundly by fans across the entire globe. You see quotes like this one, "She was the heart and soul of the Monsterverse," and it really just perfectly captures the sentiment that's literally flooding internet forums and social media right now. People aren't just mourning an actress here, they're mourning a young talent who became the absolute emotional anchor for a massive global film franchise.
The devastating news was officially confirmed by her father, Joshua Hottle. He said, "I am taking a flight I would never like to take." He delivered this heartbreaking update on July 21st, 2026, while he was actually traveling to Maryland to identify his daughter. And what really underscores the emotional weight of this moment is how he shared it. He went on a highly emotional 23-minute live stream entirely in American Sign Language, communicating this unimaginable grief directly to the community that had supported them. Section 1. The Maryland Car Crash. So to understand what happened, let's impartially break down the facts we have from the authorities about that Tuesday morning. This was a single-car accident on Windsor Road in Igemsville, Maryland. Kaylee was a passenger in a 1995 Honda Accord, which was being driven by a 19-year-old. According to the initial reports, the car veered about 10 feet off the right side of a two-lane road and ended up striking a drainage culvert. Investigators currently believe excessive speed was a factor here. The driver was transported to a local hospital with non-life-threatening injuries, and there was actually a second passenger at the scene who declined medical treatment. The sequence of events just unfolded so rapidly. The crash happened right before 3 a.m. A newly released dispatch audio reveals that when first responders arrived, they found Hottle unconscious. The audio captures this truly heartbreaking detail. Crews were urgently requesting an ASL interpreter, or even just an interpreter app, so they could communicate with the deaf actress, noting that she was visiting from out of town. But tragically, even though she was immediately transported toward a trauma center, her heart stopped on the way.
Section 2. Breaking Barriers in Hollywood.
Now, while the circumstances of her passing are deeply sorrowful, her life and her booming career are absolutely worth celebrating. She wasn't just a rising star, she was a cultural milestone. Just look at this really beautiful comparison of art and reality. On one side, you have Gia, the fictional orphan girl who forms this incredibly special, empathetic bond with Kong using sign language. And on the other, you have Kaylee Hottle herself, a native ASL signer coming from an all-deaf family. Her real-life heritage beautifully and authentically informed a character that ended up resonating with millions of people worldwide. She didn't just play a role. She quite literally opened doors for deaf representation on the biggest screens possible.
And her career trajectory brilliantly illustrates just how fast her star was rising. She was originally discovered by casting director Sarah Hallie Finn just from appearing in a commercial for Convo, which is a deaf-owned communication company. From there, she was thrust straight into global stardom with Godzilla vs. Kong in 2021, and then its sequel, Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire, in 2024. But she was really branching out too. She appeared on NBC's Magnum PI, and she was already cast in the upcoming film What Doesn't Kill Us. She proved this immense talent at a remarkably young age, and honestly, she showed zero signs of slowing down.
But the really crucial point here is that Kaylee was incredibly self-aware of the impact she was making. In an interview back in 2024, she said, "There's not a lot of deaf roles or opportunities out there, and so now I think I've seen more and more growth and positivity." She knew exactly why her representation mattered. She recognized that just her visibility on screen was actively changing the landscape for deaf actors and helping create a much more inclusive Hollywood. Which brings us to a really poignant question. How will the world remember Kaylee Hottle? Because this isn't just about the roles she played, it's about the lives she touched. And the reaction to her passing gives us a very clear answer to that question. We've seen just a massive outpouring of love from the people who knew her best and the fans who admired her from afar.
Section 3. Hollywood and fans mourn.
Tributes have just been flooding the internet, really bridging that gap between A-list co-stars and everyday moviegoers. Her Godzilla co-star Millie Bobby Brown posted, "I'm so devastated to hear this. You will be deeply missed, Kaylee." But it wasn't just words of sympathy online. Her impact on set was legendary. Actually, another co-star, Alexander Skarsgård, was famously so moved by Kaylee's absolute professionalism and talent that he took the time to learn ASL himself, just so he could communicate with her directly between takes. I mean, that really speaks volumes about the kind of presence she had.
And the grief is especially profound within the deaf acting community. Fellow deaf actor Alakwa Cox, who is actually slated to co-star with Kaylee in an upcoming film, shared, "I'm so heartbroken. My heart goes out to her family during this unimaginable time." The reverberations of this loss are so deep that officials down at the Texas School for the Deaf in Austin announced they're providing grief counseling and support services for her classmates and friends.
And then, of course, there are the fans. This quote from a Reddit user just perfectly encapsulates the collective sigh of the internet right now. "It's so unfair that she'll never get to live a full life." All across different forums, fans are grappling with this tragedy. Many are noting their devastation that she won't be appearing in the upcoming 2027 film Godzilla x Kong Supernova. It's just a stark, heavy reminder of the future performances and milestones that have been so tragically cut short.
Which leaves us reflecting on this final question. What lasting imprint can a person leave on the world in just 18 years? If this explainer shows us anything, it's that life is incredibly fragile, but the impact of a life well lived, that is permanent. In less than 2 decades, Kaylee Hottle broke barriers, she completely redefined representation in blockbuster cinema, and she left a beautiful, indelible mark on Hollywood and the deaf community. She proved that you really don't need a lifetime to change the world. Sometimes you just need a moment in the spotlight and the courage to shine. Thank you for joining us to honor her story today. Take care of yourselves, everyone.